Hello, Giggle Explorers! Welcome back to Simple Stories, Smart Kids, where tiny tales become big adventures filled with laughs, lessons, and a whole lot of imagination. Today's story is all about an old man, a heavy bundle of sticks, and a very unexpected visitor. But don't worry, it's not too spooky. It's super silly. So get cozy, open those curious ears, and let's jump into the funny fable of the Old Man and Death. Once upon a time, in a little village surrounded by tall, whispering trees, there lived an old man who was known far and wide for two things: his very impressive, very bushy, very gray beard, and his truly terrible luck when it came to carrying firewood. You see, this old man, despite being as wrinkled as a raisin and as creaky as a garden gate, was still determined to do everything himself. He would march into the forest every morning, humming a tune, and return every evening with a bundle of firewood that looked more like a lumberyard on his back than anything meant for a cozy fire. One particularly sweltering afternoon, the old man trudged into the woods as usual, whistling what might have been a happy tune. If only he had remembered all the notes. He filled his arms with sticks and branches and even a few logs that weighed more than his favorite old goat. And as he started his journey home, he began to realize that perhaps, just perhaps, he had bitten off more than he could chew, or, in this case, carried. The sun was blazing, the birds were singing, and the mosquitoes were having a grand old time feasting on his elbows. The bundle seemed to get heavier and heavier with every step, until it felt like he was hauling a whole forest on his back. His knees wobbled, his back groaned, and his beard seemed to droop in sympathy. Finally, with a dramatic sigh that startled a nearby squirrel, he plopped down on a rock and dropped the bundle with a thud. The rock shivered. The old man groaned. Even the birds paused to see what would happen next. He wiped his brow, which was now glistening like the morning dew, and looked up at the sky. "Oh, what a day!" he moaned. "Oh, what a life! Here I am, old as the hills, carrying sticks through the forest. My back is sore. My arms are tired, and I think I might have splinters in places I didn't even know I had. If only someone would just put me out of my misery." And as luck, or perhaps bad luck, would have it, no sooner had those words left his lips than a cold breeze rustled through the trees. The birds stopped singing, the squirrels hid behind their nuts, and with a whoosh and a swirl, out popped the one and only, the mysterious, the utterly unexpected, Death. But before you start imagining a scary figure in a black cloak with a spooky scythe, let me tell you, Death in these woods was quite a sight. He wore a bathrobe covered in daisies, a pair of fluffy bunny slippers, and held a scythe that looked like it had been borrowed from the local gardener. He had a warm, toothy grin and looked more like someone's slightly confused grandpa than anything scary. "Did someone call for me?" Death said, peering through a pair of oversized spectacles. The old man blinked. He looked at Death. He looked at his firewood. He looked at Death again. For a moment, he couldn't decide if he was more surprised by the visitor or the bathrobe. Yes, I suppose I did," the old man stammered, scratching his head. But, you're not quite what I expected." Death shrugged. "I get that a lot, but I'm here now. What can I do for you?" The old man looked at Death, then at his enormous bundle of firewood. He thought for a moment, then cleared his throat. "Well, since you're here, would you mind helping me pick up that bundle and put it back on my shoulders? It's awfully heavy, and my back isn't what it used to be." Death stood there, mouth open in surprise. He blinked once, twice, 3 times. Then he burst out laughing, a sound so jolly that it sent the birds flying from their branches and made the squirrels peek out from behind their nuts again. "You called for me, Death." "Me? Just to help you with your firewood?" The old man shrugged sheepishly. "Well, I suppose I did. You see, carrying firewood is tough work, and I'm not as strong as I used to be. But, to be honest, I'd rather keep carrying firewood than, well, you know." Death chuckled, shook his head, and with a twinkle in his eye, he lifted the bundle and helped the old man get it settled back on his shoulders. "There you go, my friend. Try not to call for me again unless you really mean it. I'm a busy fellow, you know. Lots of folks need me, especially during tickle tag season. It gets wild out there. The old man grinned, feeling lighter in heart and heavier in firewood. "Thank you, Death. I'll try to keep my complaints to myself from now on." And with that, Death waved a flowery sleeve and vanished as quickly as he had appeared, leaving behind a faint scent of lavender and a trail of bunny slipper prints in the dirt. The old man trudged home, humming a happier tune this time, and when his neighbors asked him why he was smiling, he just winked and said, "Oh, I just got a little help from an old friend." And so, the old man learned a valuable lesson that day. Sometimes, when we're feeling tired or fed up, what we really need isn't to give up, but just a little help, or at least a good laugh. And if you ever think about calling for death, make sure you really mean it, or you might just end up with a helpful hand, a funny story, and a bouquet of daisies on your doorstep. Now, you might be wondering what happened to Death after that peculiar day in the woods. Well, rumor has it that he wandered off to the next village, where he helped a cranky old lady find her missing cat, then spent the afternoon teaching frogs how to play hopscotch. Death, as it turns out, was not only very busy, but also very helpful when he wasn't, doing his usual job. As for the old man, he never complained quite so loudly again. Whenever his firewood felt heavy or his knees felt wobbly, he remembered Death's bathrobe, those fluffy bunny slippers, and the laughter they shared on that hot afternoon. He would chuckle to himself and keep going, step by step, stick by stick, all the way home. Over time, the villagers began to notice that the old man seemed more cheerful than ever. He started telling jokes at the market, teaching the children how to whistle, and even organized a great annual firewood-carrying race, where the winner got a golden twig and the title of strongest stick carrier in the land. Of course, the old man always came in last, but he didn't mind one bit. After all, he had the best story to tell, and that was worth more than any prize. Kids from all around would gather at his porch, their eyes wide with excitement, eager to hear the tale of the day the old man met Death in the woods. He would puff out his chest, stroke his grand gray beard, and begin, "Once upon a time, I called for death, but all I got was a helping hand and the world's silliest bathrobe." The children would giggle, the adults would shake their heads with a smile, and everyone would leave a little lighter, a little happier, and a little less afraid. And so, the story of the old man and Death became a favorite in the village, a reminder that sometimes laughter is the best medicine, and that even the heaviest burdens can be made lighter with a little help and a lot of heart. But let's not forget the most important lesson of all. Tucked away in the folds of that daisy-covered bathrobe, be careful what you wish for, especially if you're talking to the sky, the trees, or any passing woodland creatures who might be listening. And if help arrives, no matter how unexpected or unusual, don't be afraid to accept it, even if it comes wearing bunny slippers. So, the next time you find yourself carrying a heavy load, be it firewood, homework, or just a bad day, remember the old man and his remarkable encounter. Take a deep breath, ask for a little help if you need it, and look for the humor in every situation. You never know who might come to your aid, or what funny, fantastic adventure might be waiting for you just around the corner. And if you ever meet someone in a bathrobe covered in daisies offering to help you with your load, be sure to say thank you, share a laugh, and carry your bundle home with a smile. Because life, after all, is just a bit lighter when you see the funny side, even if you're as old as the hills and twice as creaky. In the end, our favorite old man lived many more years, his back a little bent, but his spirit as bright as ever. And whenever someone groaned about a heavy load or a tough day, he'd wink and say, "Don't worry, my friend, it's not the weight of the sticks that gets you down. It's forgetting to laugh along the way." The villagers still talk about that day. Some swear they saw footprints shaped like bunny slippers in the dust. Others claim the old man's beard grew an extra curl from all the laughter, and a few insist they smelled lavender whenever the wind blew just right. But everyone agrees on one thing. The story of the old man and Death is a tale worth telling, again and again, to anyone who needs a reminder that help can come in the most unexpected forms, and that it's always, always worth asking for just a little more time, one more laugh, and one more walk through the woods. And that's the tale of the grumpiest grandpa and the politest Death you'll ever meet. If this story made you laugh, think, or wonder what you'd do with a magical visitor, give us a big thumbs up, Subscribe to Simple Stories, Smart Kids, and hit the bell so you never miss a giggle. See you next time with another tiny tale full of heart, humor, and maybe a talking squirrel or two. Bye-bye, story adventurers.